It has officially been almost 2 months since I started working on the first draft of my sci-fi novel. And honestly, my biggest struggle while working on this first draft hasn't even been the writing. It's been my inability to escape the constant cycle of doom scrolling. And frankly, I don't think I know anyone who's immune to the grip that algorithms have on our attention. I mean, for me, all it takes is the slightest feeling of discomfort or anxiety or stress or boredom, and I'm opening Instagram to scroll through reels. I mean, even while I was trying to come up with an idea for this week's video, I was getting stuck and couldn't come up with anything that I wanted to film, and you know what I did? I opened Instagram and I started scrolling. And then I wondered, how much time do I really spend doing this? How much time do I actually spend scrolling on Instagram through reels, basically wasting time? So I opened my settings, looked at my screen time, and it's pretty bad. It's pretty embarrassing. 90% of the content we consume while doom scrolling, we pretty much forget the second we leave the app. I mean, some of the content I see while scrolling does add value to my life, but the majority of the time, doom scrolling just goes like this. I see a video and I scroll past it after the first couple of seconds of watching, and the majority of the time I am not absorbing anything useful, and I'm actually trying to just avoid something else. And so I thought for this video we could do a little experiment and test what would happen if I replaced the amount of time I spend scrolling on my phone with writing. Okay, so let's first start by talking about how I'm actually determining the time that I have to write every single day. But first, I think we should probably start by deleting Instagram off of my phone. For me, Instagram is definitely the biggest culprit. Well, I guess I'm the biggest culprit, but I know that I spend the majority of my doom scrolling time on Instagram. So I'm just gonna go ahead and start by deleting it from my phone. Okay, I am officially deleting the app. There it goes. Okay, so in order to determine how long I have to write every single day, I'm going to be referencing my screen time from last week. And according to my screen time data, which I will say is a little bit off, there's some apps on there that I definitely didn't use as much as it says I did, but nevertheless, the average screen time for last week was 5 hours and 46 minutes, which is honestly pretty embarrassing. You can see how much time you've spent on each individual app, and that number is apparently 18% more than the previous week. So yeah, it's time to work on getting that screen time down and doing the creative hobbies that I actually love. So for every day of this week, I'm going to be taking the screen time from the same day from the previous week and using that number to determine how many hours I have to write that day. So today is Thursday and I'm going to be doing this challenge through till Sunday. So on Thursday last week, I spent 5 hours and 41 minutes on my phone, which I honestly cannot even believe. I think that that's just awful. That is not what I want to be doing with my time. And the app that I spent the most amount of time on, which was 2 hours and 16 minutes, was YouTube, which frankly doesn't really surprise me because I'm one of those people who has YouTube on in the background playing all the time when I'm doing something. So that isn't technically doom scrolling, but I feel like it still isn't a good habit to constantly have some sort of media like stimulating your brain in the background. Like, it's okay for it to be quiet and to not always have two things going on at once. So yeah, for today, I have to write a total of 5 hours and 41 minutes, which, to be honest, is a lot of time. But if I can spend that much time mindlessly scrolling, then I can dedicate that time to things that I actually really love. I'm really curious to see how it's going to affect my writing, not having access to any social media and not having the option to scroll whenever I hit a roadblock. Yeah, let's go ahead and start a timer and get into writing. So I started writing at about 12:30 and it is now currently 6 o'clock, and honestly, I am so tired. I almost never usually write for this many hours in a row, and I especially don't usually write this long without checking any social media or anything. So yeah, my brain is pretty fried at this point, but I did have a lot of progress. I wrote about 2/3 of chapter 6, and I also went back to add a scene to chapter 5 because the way chapter 5 ended made it so that the beginning of chapter 6 didn't really make sense. So I did end up writing quite a bit. I didn't write as much as I thought I would, but still good progress. I think the reason that I spend so much time doom scrolling and on social media is because the feeling of being able to escape challenges is so nice, and honestly, it's not healthy or productive, and I definitely want to break the cycle of resorting to scrolling anytime I face difficulty or challenges, because I feel like, especially with writing, doom scrolling is doing nothing but hurting me as a writer. So I definitely felt today that whenever I was facing a difficulty, like I didn't know what dialogue to write or what was going to come next in the scene, that I felt this urge literally to pull out my phone and start scrolling, and then I'd catch myself and be like, oh, I don't have access to my phone right now. So actually, let me just deal with this challenge and figure out what's gonna come next. And there have been times when I've gone a long time without being on Instagram, and I have noticed that during those times, I'm so much more productive and so much less judgmental towards myself and my creativity. And honestly, I think I excuse the doom scrolling with thinking that being able to scroll will give me more ideas, and especially with creating content, I tell myself that it'll give me good inspiration for my videos, but the truth is, like, I don't need that, and for my writing in particular, it does nothing but hurt me and take away from all of the valuable time that I could be spending writing. Like today, I truly felt like there was nothing in the way of me just sitting down and writing, whereas usually I'm battling this constant urge to just go back to my phone all the time, and yeah, it's not healthy. I don't like it, and after today, I definitely feel and notice the consequence of creating this habit of constantly going to my phone and scrolling. That's the end of day one. Very proud and surprised, honestly, that I was able to actually spend the entire time writing. I did take a break to eat lunch, but I feel like that's justified. But now we have some dinner plans. I'm very much looking forward to just relaxing, and I think I want to do some reading as well because it's starting to get very cloudy and stormy outside. So yeah. So I will see you all tomorrow for day 2. Hello everyone, good morning. Welcome to day 2. Today is Friday and I am actually currently on campus. I'm at my college campus and I'm here for a very specific reason, which is I'm actually running a little bit behind on editing my video for this week. So I knew that if I stayed home where there was Wi-Fi, I was going to end up just editing and not doing my writing that I needed to do. So we are on campus, we're outside, and it is a beautiful day out today. And yeah, for today, my word count time, according to my screen time from last Friday, is 4 hours and 18 minutes. So not as much as yesterday, which I'm thankful for, but definitely still a good amount of writing that I have to do. So yeah, I'm gonna hang out here for a couple of hours and do some writing. This is like the most beautiful scenery. This is like the ideal place to write. I just know that if I'm at home and I have access to my Wi-Fi, it's just too distracting and I will definitely get sucked into editing. So yeah, we're hanging out on campus today and I'm here because it's just so beautiful and I knew there would be a lot of benches in the shade so I wouldn't get sunburned and I could actually hang out outside. So I'm gonna go ahead and get into writing. I think I'm gonna spend the whole 4 hours here and just try to get all of my writing done for the day, and then I'm gonna go home and I do actually really need to edit. So that's the plan for today, and yeah, we'll see how much writing I'm able to do. I'm currently trying to finish the end of chapter 6, which is good because I am actually on schedule. I made a whole plan of my chapters that I wanted to write per each week until the rest of the year. So I am currently still on schedule. I do need to finish chapter 6 this week though, so that's the plan and I'm doing pretty good. I think spending so many hours writing this week is definitely helpful, and not being able to doom scroll is really helping me to get those words down. Also, a little bit of a side note, semi-related, I guess. I finally got a pair of prescription sunglasses, which is so nice because now I can finally see when I'm outside. If you wear glasses like all the time, then you know, definitely need prescription sunglasses, and I just haven't been able to get any until recently. So just enjoying being able to be outside and actually be able to see my surroundings. So okay, I'm gonna go ahead and get into doing some writing now.
Could you catch me up here? Tell me what you felt. My head is filling bottles that keep falling off the shelves. Well, every word hit like a prism, not a color that was wasted. I could see through every layer. This was it.
So before I left today to go write, I did sort of think to myself that it was probably going to be pretty hot outside, but I just sort of brushed it off and I was like, it'll be fine. I'll find a spot in the shade. And yeah, it was not fine. It's literally the middle of July and I live in a super hot place. So I was only able to make it 2 hours outside before I felt like I was getting super sunburned. And now I'm back home and honestly, my brain is exhausted. I literally wrote like 5.5 hours straight yesterday and now 2 hours today also. So this is more hours than I ever usually write like in a row. So my brain is starting to feel completely fried, but I do still want to write the total 4 hours for today. I think for now, I'm just gonna go ahead and switch gears and do a little bit of editing for a while so that I can turn my brain off from writing mode. And luckily I do only have to write 4 hours today, so I already have 50% of the time goal completed. So I think I'm gonna do the remaining 2 hours later this evening, but I don't know if I'm gonna do drafting. I think I need to do a little bit of readjustment of my outline because it's kind of a mess right now. I need to go back and reevaluate some of the decisions I I made in terms of plot points and stuff. So yeah, I need to switch it up for a minute and do something a little bit different, but I still am not doom scrolling. I'm still not on social media. I'm still doing my creative passions. So all around, it's still good. It does honestly still feel a little weird to not have that scrolling to turn to whenever I start to feel like boredom or challenge when I'm writing. But I do feel like I am writing so much more intentionally and being much more present in the process. Yeah, who knows? Maybe I will go ahead and just delete Instagram off of my phone permanently, but I'm gonna go ahead and do some editing and then we will have a little writing session later this evening. Hello guys, it is currently 9 o'clock and I just finished writing for 2 hours. So I officially wrote the total 4 hours that I needed to write today. And honestly, I don't know if I would recommend doing this challenge because if you have a relatively high screen time like me, you're probably gonna end up writing for like a gazillion hours. And yeah, I'm pretty exhausted at this point and feeling a little bit, like, okay, I've done enough writing. So yeah, it was a very busy day. I'm thankful I had a little bit of a reprieve from the total writing time. I mean, I still wrote a good amount for sure, but I'm gonna go ahead and go to bed and I will see you all tomorrow. Hello guys, today is day 3 and it's actually pretty late in the afternoon. I've spent the entire morning writing and I realized that I haven't spoken to the camera at all today, so let's do a little check-in. So according to my screen time from last week, I had to write 5 hours today, which I did this morning, and it is honestly just crazy how much time I spend on my phone because spending that same amount of time writing has actually been really difficult and I can feel myself starting to get kind of burnt out with how much I'm writing. So tomorrow I might split the screen time with doing something else creative besides writing because I almost never write this much, and yeah, it has been definitely a challenge to say the least. So yeah, I spent this morning writing and it's been pretty good. I think because I am writing so much, it's starting to get difficult to be able to get any words on the page because I am writing so much. It's almost like I have nothing left at this point. So maybe I'm taking this challenge a little bit too far and taking the whole screen time hours too seriously. So yeah, I think tomorrow I am gonna go ahead and scale it back, but it is just unbelievable to see that I do spend so much time on my phone. But at this point, I no longer feel the urge to go and scroll, which has been kind of a relief. It feels like I can focus much better on the task that I'm trying to accomplish. And it also feels like I have to force my brain to just deal with the challenges rather than escape from them, which has made it easier to get things done in a normal and like acceptable amount of time. It is currently 4:30. Luckily, I have finished my writing time for the day, but I do have a live stream at 5 o'clock. So I don't know how I'm gonna write any more than I already have. Honestly, maybe I will just do some editing or something else. This challenge is crazy. I don't know. I'm always like way too ambitious and like I think I can do way more than I actually can. And that's how I end up super burnt out. So, but I am happy that I have sort of broken that reaction of grabbing for my phone all the time. So that is definitely a very positive thing that's come out of this challenge so far. But I'm gonna go ahead and get ready, get set up for this live stream. And yeah, it's gonna be a fun, chill Saturday evening, and it'll be fun to catch up with everyone. So yeah, I'm gonna go ahead and do that.
To sound, the one that's coming from your mouth. Don't mean to turn it upside down.
Y'all, this challenge has been absolutely insane. I literally went and got myself a sweet treat as a reward for how intense this challenge has been and for how many hours of writing I have done in the past couple of days. I literally think over the past 3 days with the screen time plus the live stream that I did all added up, I ended up doing like a total of 20 hours of writing over 3 days, which first of all speaks to just how much time I actually spend on my phone, but also probably is unnecessary and maybe actually not very good for my writing. But I think the biggest lesson I've learned over the course of this challenge is that there is always time for your creative pursuits. I think a lot of us definitely spend a lot of time on our phones, and you know, these apps that we use are literally designed to capture our attention and keep us using the app. So I think it's no surprise that we've all kind of fallen into this habit of spending more time consuming than we spend creating. And for me, sometimes it feels like I have no time to create. Life is always so busy and it feels like there's always a million things going on, and sometimes I think the result is like I will let my creative passions fall to the wayside because I feel like there's just no time to actually pursue them. But after doing this challenge, I have to say I think there is time. It's just a matter of how we choose to spend our time, because for me, obviously, I've been doing a lot of spending my time on social media, and that definitely has not been productive, and I think can actually be really bad for your mind and especially your mental health. So yeah, I think going into the future, I honestly might just keep Instagram off of my phone permanently. Am I going to be actually writing this much consistently? No, definitely not. I think that that would lead to massive burnout for sure. But I think without having apps that lead to doom scrolling, there's so much more room for creativity and having time for those fun hobbies that you really want to pursue, but you feel like you never have time for. For me, I obviously love writing and editing and making videos, but I also love embroidery and running and spending time with my dogs and baking, and those are all things that sometimes I feel like not only do I not have the time for, but the mental space in my brain to be able to do those things. And I think a lot of that can be attributed to the doom scrolling and how bad that is for your attention span, but also the constant dopamine release of doom scrolling. Yeah, it's not good for us. And after doing this challenge this week, I definitely realized that I need to keep Instagram off my phone. So yeah, thank you so much for watching until this point in the video. If you made it all the way till this point, you know the drill. Comment this emoji, and yeah, I will see you all next week with another video, and let's all make a pact that we will quit doom scrolling and make room in our lives for our creativity. Okay, I'm gonna drink my matcha, which is fantastic and also beautiful. Love to see it, and I will see you all next week. Okay, bye.